Well, a hot topic at the state capitol right now, internet safety for kids, because there are so many dangers out there for parents to look out for. One Connecticut mom said she's on a mission to eliminate online child sex abuse. We've got Matt Scott with her in Studio 61 to tell you how she's doing it.
This is a story that you're going to want to hear. This is a person you're going to want to meet. In terms of anything online, you know, we always hear on this show talk about how it's just not nearly as safe as your kids want it to or want to believe that it is. Roo Powell learned that a couple of years ago. She's a founder of Sosa, which stands for Safe from Online Sex Abuse. She did that here in Connecticut, and now she and her team, the focus of a show on Discovery Plus. We'll get to that in a second, but first we say good morning to you.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Nice to have you here. You are doing incredible work. Tell me how this all started a couple of years ago when you founded Sosa.
So I was working for a tech safety company at the time, and I really wanted to demonstrate the ubiquity of online predation. When you and I were growing up, we didn't have smartphones in our hands. Our parents didn't have to worry about Snapchat. They were only worried about people within close proximity to us.
Right.
You know, on my way to the school bus, that sort of thing. But now with the internet, you know, a child can be abused without being in the same room or state or country as their perpetrator. And so I really wanted to demonstrate for parents, because I feel like I'm part of the first generation of parents that's raising kids with smartphones, what can actually happen online. So at that time, my team and I put a fake teenager online, just so we can demonstrate what happens. And the amount of men who approached this decoy and really wanted to really engage in abusive language and abusive tactics, I ended up writing a piece about it. And
You were shocked.
Well, I
mean,
had been in this space, but it was still shocking to see
how much
and how quickly.
Really?
And people assume that grooming can happen over months and months and months, but it can happen over minutes. You know, it's a very short period.
And I think part of the challenge is kids don't even realize that some nefarious activities happening involving them when they get on their Xbox, when they go into some, you know, kiddie chat room. You just don't know who you're talking to. It's an issue. It's a conversation that I've had with my kids, especially a teenage daughter. So you're right. This is the first generation that we have to deal with it. Does the fact that the kids not quite know what's going on make it harder?
Well, I think that generally speaking, you know, kids are online and they're curious, and you just kind of assume the best about everyone, right? And they're doing innocuous things. They're playing video games, they're posting fun photos, they're communicating with friends. But then there's also this, you know, insidious underbelly of the internet that they're not necessarily aware of, or parents aren't aware of, or they're not aware of how to equip their kids to see signs of that.
Well, let's talk about that before we talk about Undercover Underage, which is a show that Roo and her team are part of on Discovery Plus. What do you tell parents? Because, I mean, I think that you didn't see it. My jaw was agape while we were running some video listening to you talk about this. What do you tell parents in an effort to try to curb this a little bit in their families?
Well, I explain what happens when we do put, and my team puts teenagers, minors, sometimes as young as 12, online, and we just kind of sit and wait just to see who approaches. And when I'm able to share how quickly it happens, the tactics, their, you know, what they want to do, it's abuse, it's sending objectionable material, it's asking for photos, it's, you know, a lot of really criminal activity. As
if teenagers especially don't have a hard enough life. So here's the rub. Undercover Underage is a show that cameras follow your team and kind of watch all of this unfold. But what you may not know if you haven't seen it before is you know, a mother of 3, don't dress like this. You dress like one of the teenagers, right?
Well, it's for season 1, it was mostly me, and then we brought on some younger actors. So it's not, you know, a 40-year-old playing pretend.
Right.
You know, we have some, we know, like a 20-year-old and a 26-year-old, but we use a lot of digital editing. We use a lot of smoke and mirrors, the context of a kid's room, and so we're able to really emulate what a 14-year-old or 15-year-old might say. We also study the language and the syntax and semantics. And,
Right.
Unfortunately now I'm very much online, and I can tell the difference between a teenager and an adult pretending to be a teenager from a mile away.
And we'll get to that in a second. We were kidding during the commercial break that this is not reality TV. This is a docuseries, because most reality shows are anything but reality, but this stuff is jarring. And when parents watch this, what do you hope they're taking away?
I think that when parents watch this, it's very much like they are experiencing something and they're shocked. It's almost like saying, aliens are real, here's one, I'm about to introduce you to one. Because I think a lot of parents will come to me and say, well, what's the worst app? Is it Snapchat? Is it Reddit? And ultimately, it can be any app or platform where people can communicate. And so we've consulted with companies, and I remember speaking with one company who said, we're having a real issue with online predators on our app. And it was a coloring book app.
Oh my.
And so, as parents, I think a lot of us would just, coloring book apps are so innocuous. You just toss one on an iPad, hand it to a 6-year-old, and let them play. But it's really any platform where you can communicate. We've had perpetrators say, hey, I am worried about talking to you via text. Can we both download the same makeup app? And we can talk via the makeup app.
And again, the kids who don't quite realize what's going on, that's how they get trapped in. Roo, we could talk about this for hours. I mean, as a parent of 2 teenagers, this scares the hell out of me. The bottom line is, and we've done this so many times on the air, is parents, watch what your kids are doing online. Undercover Underage is on Discovery Plus. Roo Powell, tremendous work you're doing. And if you want to learn more about Sosa, what's the website? SosaTogether.org. We're also on social everywhere at Sosa Together. It's incredible stuff. All right.